What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are doing well. We're back at it. We're doing some live readings this evening on the channel. Happy December. I have not seen you guys yet. I just got done doing all of the stuff for the December astrology, so I'm stoked to talk to you guys about it. We'll give everybody a little bit of time to show up for the live readings this evening. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. We're here every Friday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, doing readings. Some weeks we do tarot, some weeks we do astrology. We're going to be doing tarot this evening, and there is a number of people who are in the queue. Just want to say hello. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see me and share this. It really helps if you guys give me a thumbs up or a heart. It lets other people in YouTube land know that we're going live. If you want to get a reading this evening, it's super simple. There's a QR code right up here. If you scan this QR code, it'll take you to my PayPal. We're going to be doing live readings. So one card spread for $20, 3 cards for $40. Any one question that you want. And obviously, if you are a level 3 member, let me know if you want to cash in on your reading for the month. Some of you guys, some of you guys are probably level 3. What's up, Jessica? Davers is here. Rachel is here. Katerina. How's it going, guys? You will not believe, what does that say, Rachel? The new Pajama Guy saga? Okay. I'm excited to hear about that. But I just got done shooting the astrology of December. My goodness, the second half of this month is a lot. We're going to see a Mercury retrograde and some mutable squares. There's a lot going on the second half of December. So if you don't cash in, you definitely can later this month. I was looking at the calendar. We have all Fridays are ready to go. So we should be here as long as we're good. I'm in the midst of moving, but it seems like we're going to be able to make it work while we're going to be doing our schedule. So we should still be here, touch wood, right? Mercury retrograde, we never know. Hopefully we have internet service. Anyways, if this is your first time getting a reading, scan the QR code. It'll take you to my PayPal. You can donate 20 or 40 US dollars. In the memo box, please put your name and your specific question. Let me know if your name differs from YouTube. And also, let me give the shout out for everybody who are the members for this month. If you guys didn't know that I have memberships, now you know. If you guys like my content and you like watching my monthlies or my horoscopes or any of the stuff that I put out there, basically going on 2 years of being like a full-time content creator, which is really cool. Let's see. There we go. Trying to get into my YouTube. Come on. I might need to is it gonna let me in? There we go. Why does it do that? Drives me crazy. Anyway, going back and forth. Sorry, guys. But basically, yeah, if you want to join my memberships, you can. And that allows you to help me be a full-time content creator. We've got several different levels there. So level 1, you're just kind of getting in and you're supporting me. Level 2, you are going to get a shout out. Level 3, obviously you're going to get a shout out, but also you get a reading once a month. So let me see who I've got here in this ever-growing list. I've got Diamond Death, Deanna, Queen of Light Bulbs, Victoria, Marie, Still Ripples Coaching, Exalta, MV, Thunder Spooks, Claire, MK, Dina, Blunt Hair, Jessica Solis, Deanna, Hey Honey, Let's Talk, Catherine Murray, Enchanted Crossroads, Jen, Sharon, Susanna, Tonya, Barbara, Steve, Paula, Angela, Willow, Emma, Taliba, Jackie, Hairzed, Nancy Celerito, Jessica Martinez, and Susan Wexler. Some of you guys have been members since the very beginning, going on almost 2.5 years. So thank you guys so much for everybody who shows up and just donates or shares or gets a reading or whatever. You guys are awesome. You've made it possible for me to be a full-time YouTuber. Thank you, S. What's up, Black Lace? Dante, got you. Hey, Susan. And thanks, Jessica. What's up, Pegs? Okay, so let me let you guys know who I have. We got a few. I know Katherine Murray's here. Jessica, I'll take you first also because you're level 3. And who else do we have? All right, so we've got Matt, Amanda, Susan P. We've got Heba, Michelle D, Matthew V, Vanessa L, Dante, Jessica S, Fiorella, and Rachel. So once we take care of Katherine and Jessica, we will bop on over to everybody else. We'll leave the queue open for a little bit. So if you guys want to join in after you see some readings and you would like to get one, feel free to do so. If you just want to hang out too, that's fine. You can hang out in the chat. And remember, next week will be astrology. So if you're waiting for astrology, we'll be here next week. Just in time for pre-Mercury retrograde. All right, so I apologize. I missed Katherine last month. And so it's been so crazy trying to make sure I get everybody in. I missed you. But let's take a look. I saw your comment, Katherine. And let's see what the cards say for you in terms of what to be aware of in the month of December. In this order, wow, I like these cards. 4 of Cups, 10 of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles. Confirmation card is the Wheel of Fortune. This is some pretty good cards. So for starters, we got the 4 of Cups. And, you know, to me, in the past position, that talks about not feeling like you're getting what you want, not feeling fulfilled. Cups deal with emotions. It's the element of water, so it can be talking about feeling stuck or feeling in a place where you're not really able to kind of see your way forward in an emotional sense. With this card, it's challenging because it can kind of talk a lot about, you know, being so fixated on what's not going right that you don't quite see what is going in the direction that you want it to. It's like, you know, he's sitting here pouting and there's the 3 cups in front of him and maybe he's fixated on what's not working in his favor or what's not kind of working out for him, that he doesn't see the opportunity that's being presented to him. So it's interesting that the 4 of Cups references the Ace of Cups with like an opportunity to make a change with your emotions or with a relationship. And then you've got the 10 of Cups in the current position, which is like about a completion. So really what it's saying is that this month there seems to be an active choice in terms of making changes with your emotions or making changes with your mood or choosing to focus on the positive rather than the negative. This also makes me feel like there is a sense of really making a decision about what you're leaving behind. Because if you look at the progression of the cards, the 4 of Cups, the 10 of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the cards only get better, right? And they only get higher. So it kind of talks about being in a position of feeling like you're stuck or you're blocked, or you're not emotionally fulfilled. Then it moves to the 10 of Cups position, which is about a completion. It's also about a celebration, emotional renewal. And this is about celebrating and coming together with other people and feeling like you have support. This can be about major changes also in regards to relationships with family or with potential romantic partners. This is about feeling like you're getting what you've been working towards and that there is some sense of also like ease. You know, when I think of the 10 of Cups, I feel like there's a sense of not being so stressed out and like worried about things emotionally and feeling like something is finally coming to a close and there's some reason to celebrate some positive or some good news. Queen of Pentacles can be talking about you from a financial or a health perspective. Pentacles talk about the physical body, you know, how you're feeling. It can also talk about health. It can talk about productivity. And also working in professional or career related matters as well. So to me, it feels like there is some sense of feeling like overjoyed with some kind of breakthrough with either with your health or your professional self. There can be support that can come from earth signs. So Tauruses, Virgos, and Capricorns can sometimes pop up. This can mean that the shift that's going on with you is, you know, like a positive attitude or a shift in regards to being thankful or appreciative of what you do have. You know, this seems like very silver lining to me with the Four of Cups and the Ten of Cups, that you're like, okay, I feel confident, or I feel good with, you know, moving forward on a new business endeavor, or I'm feeling more confident about myself, my health, my finances. And the confirmation card is the Wheel of Fortune. So to me, it seems like there's some good news coming, or a turn of events that's positive, that's going to be kind of getting you out of a funk and making you feel more, I think, optimistic about the future. You know, the Wheel of Fortune can talk about, you know, taking a chance, or, you know, chances or investments that are made paying off. This can also be about fate playing a role in things. I think part of this might actually be just being a Scorpio. You know, you're getting ready to see Jupiter go direct. It's in opposition to your sun. So, you know, this is, especially for like a Leo rising chart, really good for career stuff. So Jupiter going direct in your 10th house is going to represent, you know, some opportunity to continue to see career growth. But also in the opposition position from your sun, I think this is going to be about being like, oh, there's new opportunities professionally, collaborating with other people, having more support, and feeling like you're having a breakthrough. So a lot of this seems to stem from a shift in your perspective, and not being so focused on what's not working out, being more focused on what's actually coming together, and having a sense of appreciation for where you're at. There may be some fateful connections where there is some kind of female that enters into your life that's kind of helping you, or, you know, kind of encouraging you or supporting you when it comes to getting on the right track, professionally, or also with your emotions. Probably, you know, if you had to ask me, like, what are some of the best cards that you can pull in regards to, you know, coming out of a difficult period with health, or with relationships or career? For me, it would be Ten of Cups, Wheel of Fortune. So it does seem like there is a sense also maybe of feeling not even just more confident, but feeling like, okay, like I'm tough. Like I've learned to work through things. I've been able to pull through, and like realizing your inner strength. And it can be physically, financially, spiritually, but there is some sense of like there being a lot of growth and maturity, and like really realizing that that you're capable of being able to pull through it. So these cards look pretty awesome, if you ask me. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if that resonates with you, and also like what this good news that might be coming later this month. Give it the full 4 weeks for you to see this materialize. I really think it has something to do with Jupiter, and so Jupiter will turn direct right at the end of the month, and that's probably when you're going to see the breakthrough. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We've also got Jessica, who is a level 3. Thanks, Jessica. Sent one card, general reading. What's coming towards me? Whatever comes up, not cashing in. Thank you. All right, well, let's see. There's the channel members. There's a lot of you guys, man. And that's just the level 2 and 3. So thank you guys so much. It's so awesome to see that grow. Make it possible for me to do what I do. All right, so this is going to be for Jessica. Jessica wants to know, what does she need to be aware of? What's coming towards her for this month? Ouch. So we've got the Five of Pentacles crossed with the Queen of Cups, excuse me. For me, this seems to be like digging deep and becoming aware of where you need more emotionally. You know, the five of coins can be talking about like obviously feeling left out in the cold, but this is also a card of like realizing like you're not getting your needs met in some way, shape, or form. Like there is something that is lacking or something that is being withheld. Now, coins can be money, right? In this case, like you see them, you know, out and there's a blizzard and they're injured and they're not getting what they need. And when I pull the confirmation card, the Queen of Cups might be talking about feeling like there is a sense of feeling like you're maybe not dealing with something very well emotionally, or you're just kind of like icing it out, or you're denying that it's a problem, or you're not wanting to acknowledge something. And the fives are about recognizing that you're in a situation where you actually need support, right? After this, we have the Six of Coins. So we see somebody come forward and say, hey, you know, I will have an exchange with you. I'll help you. You help me. So it balances itself out. But this may be the card that's basically saying there's something going on where you're not really feeling totally fulfilled. This card, believe it or not, is associated with Taurus, particularly the first decan of Taurus, where Jupiter is right now. So I would say maybe take a look at, you know, where Taurus is in your horoscope, in your natal chart. It can mean that you're feeling like you're not getting enough in this area. For some people, it can talk about, you know, overcoming some financial challenges, but I don't really necessarily think it's that. I think it's about looking at things going like, you know, it's time to tend to some emotional wounds, or it's time to acknowledge where maybe you feel like you do need a little bit of help, or you do need more support. When this card pops up, I always, you know, tell clients to be really, really, really aware of where you're feeling like you don't have community. So it is possible with this card coming up where you're feeling like, okay, well, you know, who's got my back? If I'm in a situation where I'm always supporting other people or helping other people, where's my assistance, right? Not that you're expecting anything, but like you're expecting somebody to kind of at least like make you feel supported or reciprocate. So be mindful of areas where there's lack and where emotionally maybe there's a tendency to kind of like block that out and be like, no, it's fine, everything's okay. It does not want you to ignore this. It wants you to pay attention because your emotions are trying to kind of get you to become aware of where like there can be a sense of, you know, getting to a point where you're like, I can't just smooth it over and act like everything's okay anymore. If I'm not getting what I need, if I'm not feeling appreciated, if I don't feel that either emotionally, physically, or financially that I'm being, you know, taken care of, it's going to get to a point where it's going to start to wear on you emotionally. So, you know, the Queen of Cups wants to be intuitively kind of in check with some of this stuff before it happens. And any emotions that are coming up of feeling kind of frustrated or not valued are definitely valid this month. And if that's coming up for you, it's about kind of tending to that and kind of seeing where you can kind of reset the balances a little bit. And sometimes it's about just straight up asking for it, right? Sometimes it's about going, I mean, you see, you know, two people outside going inside and asking for assistance. 6th, 7th house. Okay, so that's your job. So, you know, Jupiter getting ready to go direct. It might feel like finally you're going to feel like your hard work is paying off. There can be a sense of finally starting to see the financial shifts in regards to that. But still, nevertheless, like I see the Queen of Cups and the 5 of Coins as being like, you still need that reassurance. You still need the pat on the back. You still need people who are saying, hey, thanks for what you're doing. You're doing a good job. Otherwise, you just feel like you're giving, and you're not really getting that, that support back, right? So pay attention to where emotions are kind of popping up where you're not feeling appreciated. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Hang in there. Obviously, having Jupiter in your 6th house is work, and more work, and taking care of a lot of other things and a lot of other people, and you need the appreciation, you know. What's up, Marcia? All right, so we're gonna move over to my list now. If you guys are just catching me and you want to get a reading, you can scan the QR code and get in the queue to get a reading. I'll be calling names out, so I'll let you guys know who's on deck for who's coming up next. You're welcome, Jessica. See you soon. Okay, so we're going to start with Kurt, Amanda, and then Susan. All right, so Kurt says, just wanting to know, how can I expect my exam to go? We've already done the astro reading on it, and everything should be fine, but I still want to check in with the cards. Let's take a look, Matt. Let's see, obviously, positive vibes for you and all of your health checkups. Let's see here what the cards say. In this order. Okay, and then the confirmation card obviously is the 4 of Wands. Cool. I see this being positive. I do feel like You know, the Two of Coins is about going back and forth and questioning and wondering, or trying to, you know, figure out like what might be going on, if there's something wrong, or diagnosing something. There can be a sense of being like, or questioning whether or not, you know, you do proceed forward and look further into this. So I don't know if you were like getting a second opinion, or if you were weighing your options, if it made sense to go back and have like a further check done. This can also mean that there is some stuff that's up in the air, right? Two of any of the cards can indicate kind of going back and forth, but the Two of Coins is kind of like, is it worth the investment? Is it not? Is it worth looking a little bit further into? Is it going to take up a lot of time? And I feel like, look, if you need the confirmation just for the peace of mind, just to go and get a second opinion, or return back for some kind of routine screening just to make sure everything's okay, it's fine for you to do that. Five of Cups does make me feel like there is a sense of being unfulfilled with the actual like one-on-one that you might have with like a practitioner. Obviously, you know, with the Five of Cups, there's a sense of being disappointed and being kind of like, okay, well, you know, I'm not really feeling like, you know, I'm getting the emotional support that I'm like needing. So there can be a sense of feeling like, you know, you get an answer and it does to me seem like everything is fine, but it might kind of be like, okay, well, I'm coming back and you're telling me the exact same thing. So you want to watch for kind of getting into a rut and being like pessimistic about, you know, future health related things. Five of Cups also can talk a lot about where emotions are having a huge impact on your health in general. Sometimes the Five of Cups talks about going through long periods of feeling like you're questioning things, you're sad, or, you know, disconnected. This can also be a card that's basically saying that you're kind of feeling like you're left to handle this on your own. I have a feeling that you may have something like where they say, well, you know, we looked into it again, like everything's fine, don't know what to tell you. And you're like, oh, like the bedside manner is not very nurturing, right? It's not like super, you know, like caring. It's just very kind of direct and matter of fact and to the point. The Two of Cups behind the cloaked figure does talk about being like, you know, I'm still here if you need anything, or, you know, why don't you return in the future? If you have any concerns, we'll check on it again. But right now you're fine. And you're like maybe not feeling totally emotionally satisfied with that because you feel like, well, why did I come and, you know, do this screening? This can also talk about, you know, needing to literally move energy around in the body emotionally that might be kind of emotionally stuck. So if you feel like you're having a difficult time processing emotions, there can be some kind of issue where stuff is kind of hanging out in one particular area of your body. It could be the root chakra. It is possible because obviously that's, you know, the area that you're getting checked out. But also, you know, like the cloak being there makes me feel like that some of these things are, you know, being hidden from you, where you're like, okay, I just want to figure out what's going on, and like you're upset because you're not getting any clarity on the situation. Now the final card is in my mind more or less like the real outcome of the testing, and Three of Cups is about celebrating, so it does seem like it's positive results in a sense of being like there's nothing to worry about, we're good, we're good to go, we don't need to stress out about it. And also like celebrating the fact that, you know, like you're good, especially if you've had a situation where in the past you were concerned about your health and they said, well, you need to come back several times because this can be about a reunion. Or if you're in a situation where, you know, you want that guaranteed, hey, everything's okay. I wonder, excuse me, if you're going to maybe be going back in 3 months' time. I don't know if you're watching this live, but if you are watching this live, let me know. Did they tell you to come back in a couple months? Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Do you know anything about this? But it looks like there's reason to celebrate, you know, like you're going to be celebrating and not feeling like there's anything wrong. Confirmation card is the 11 of Wands, which is about going out, feeling, you know, relieved, being able to celebrate with other people, this being a temporary space. So I do feel like it might turn into like an annual exam where they're saying, okay, for now you're good, come back. If we see any changes, then we'll be able to kind of talk to you about the future. But there's nothing doom and gloom here. If anything, I feel like you're just more emotionally not in a situation where you're feeling like they're being very compassionate towards you. It's just kind of like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? But then if you push it and you're like, I want to have a test, or I want results, or I want you, to let me know and get back to me, it looks like you're going to be satisfied with the results. And I don't see it being a situation where there's going to be anything negative. They haven't told me to come back or anything. Okay, so then it might end up being a situation where they say, we'll run testing and essentially, we'll let you know what comes back. But I don't think anything's going to come back that's going to be concerning. If anything, I think it's just going to be like validating that you're okay. And perhaps some of what's going on is that you're needing to move stuff around that's probably in the lower part of your body. Sometimes when I see the Five of Cups come up, it can literally be about emotions that are trapped within us. And we're feeling kind of like blocked or stuck. And so, that can manifest as being like, okay, I've got a lump or a bump, or I've got something that's like a knot that's kind of getting stuck that doesn't want to move. And I also wonder, because this is a card that also deals with like liquids and like fluid and stuff, if they say, well, it could just be something that's kind of just a buildup. I don't necessarily think it's anything serious. It might be something that's more superficial, or something that can be like moved out or flushed out, or something that can be like massaged out. But I don't see this being a negative outcome. I see it being positive. It looks like the results are worth celebrating. So if that means that you're finding out that you're good to go, there's no serious or like dire health related issues, you're going to be very pleased to find out that that's not going to be an issue. I don't think you're going to be too crazy about the bedside manner. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting with that Five of Cups. It's like, I don't really feel like somebody's going to be too understanding. I feel like they're going to be pretty cut and dry and direct about what's going on with your health. Hopefully that's helpful. What's up, Alex? What's up, Sonia? But circle back. Let us know. You can come back and you can leave a comment. We have Amanda, Susan, and then Heba. Amanda says, happy Friday. I recently began a relationship with a Pisces sun, Gemini moon. I'm a Cap sun, Virgo rising, and Taurus moon. It has been a rough 3.5 years. Went through a divorce in 2021 and a 2 not so good relationships since then. This relationship with James has given me some hope again, and I'm very much developing feelings. Can you please pull some cards regarding the energy and outlook of this relationship and anything Spirit wants me to know about James? Thank you for your readings and wealth of astrological knowledge. Well, thank you for watching. You're welcome, Kurt. Good luck. All right, so let's see. So Amanda's had a rough run in relationships since her divorce, but she seems to be pretty optimistic about her relationship with James. So Virgo rising, Cap sun. So you're going to have a Mercury retrograde, which is really important, being a Virgo rising, in your whole sign 5th house. So it's going to be about how you are communicating and expressing love, and something that's going on with your dating life, right? Maybe going a little bit deeper. So let's take a look. Let's see what Amanda needs to know about her relationship with James. What's up, Black Lace? These are the cards that I get. 6 of Cups, 8 of Swords, Knight of Wands, crossed with the Tower. Really, to be honest with you, I think the only thing that you need to be mindful of is rushing through the relationship. That's it. Being a Virgo rising, it sounds like you gave me that 29 degrees, so it's Placidus. You've got Saturn and Neptune coming up on your descendant, and that's something you're going to be dealing with for the next 2 years. So on one hand, there is a sense of like really needing to see people for who they are and taking off any kind of rose-colored glasses, because there can be a tendency to like want to idealize somebody who comes in. On the flip side, Saturn's in your whole sign 7th, Neptune's in your whole sign 7th, so it is about building a much more solid structure in a relationship with another person. I would take the Mercury retrograde, you know, mid-December into early January to really thoroughly do some soul searching and really ask yourself what you're looking for in relationship and what you're wanting in love, and whether or not you've really done the work to kind of clear out the past. The cards are a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, Six of Cups is basically saying that there is a sense of reflecting on the past. There can be a sense of feeling like connecting with this person was kind of like, you know, divinely orchestrated. A lot of astrologers or tarot readers associate this with the second decan of Scorpio, where, you know, we've had Venus kind of, we've had the sun going through recently, Mars going through recently, and Venus is going to go through here recently. So it's going to be a time where we're going to see a lot of depth in relationships. I do feel like this in the past position is kind of saying like, you know, you've been calling somebody in that's going to be a better match. You've been calling somebody in who is also going to be a little bit kinder or a little bit sweeter. The current position is the Eight of Swords. So that's interesting because I'm kind of feeling like maybe this is about you being like, you know, I'm still opening myself up and I'm still overcoming past challenges in relationships. The Eight of Swords can be about kind of working yourself out of mental limitations in relationships. Obviously, you know, she's blindfolded, she's tied up, there's water at her feet. So it does talk about needing to listen to her emotion and like working through things without jumping to conclusions and having anxiety about relationships. Right now, I feel like this is you kind of going, okay, you know, I don't want to repeat old patterns. I don't want to find myself in a situation where I'm stuck again. I also think a lot of this can be talking about learning to let go and just going with the flow and not assuming worst case scenario. So I'm glad to hear that you're saying that you have a little bit more optimism when it comes to this person. You know, Taurus is your 9th house, which is technically considered your second marriage. And it sounds like, you know, you have your Taurus moon and your North Node there. So over the next 2 years, you're going to see like Jupiter and Uranus kind of dancing somewhere around your moon. And that's probably going to bring in another opportunity to connect with another person because Jupiter rules your traditional 7th house of relationships. I feel like the final card being the Knight of Wands is talking about the passion, the attraction, the energy, that this person is very different, that it's very get up and go, that it has a lot of adventure and curiosity and like fun to, this potential relationship. Knights are dedicated to their cause, so there can be a sense of them rushing in or rushing out. But this is good because I feel like this is about kind of like waking you back up again in regards to having maybe felt dormant or hoping or wishing for somebody to kind of come along. This is somebody who's not going to kind of lead you along. They're like, okay, let's go. It's interesting that he comes up as a fire sign because, you know, it looks like he's a combination between, let's see, okay, Pisces, Sun, Gemini, Moon. So that's a lot of mutables. But nevertheless, somebody who comes in, that they kind of wake you back up. It does seem like it's lively. Because Knights can rush in and out of things, that's partially why I said just like take your time. There's no need for you to like rush into this. And then the Tower card coming up as the confirmation is saying, actually, you can have problems if things are going too fast. I don't know where his other placements are, but I mean, just having a Pisces Sun and a Gemini Moon, from thinking about it from Pisces perspective, you know, you're going to see Saturn continue to stay in Pisces for the next 2 years. A lot of Pisces placements are going to be, you know, figuring out what their goals are and what they personally need to do to make their goals become a reality. It can represent needing more time alone. Doesn't mean they can't be in relationship, but they're going to have better boundaries. And then from the moon's perspective, there's going to be like eclipses, not eclipses. There's going to be Jupiter transits going on next year. That's going to be about career. And we're going to see Saturn and Jupiter kind of square on and off. Now, relationship-wise for Pisces, next year also, there's going to be eclipses taking place in Virgo. So any which way I slice it, you know, going into a relationship with the Pisces right now, it can be great, but there is still going to be the sense of needing to give them their independence. So that's something that I would kind of think about in the back burner. I do feel like the Knight of Wands in the Tower card is saying if things go too quickly and if you're moving too quickly before really kind of doing your due diligence to make sure that you're ready mentally, especially, that you're not thinking of worst case scenario, that, you know, you're also not shutting yourself down to love or connection. These are some things that can definitely get in the way in terms of some romantic challenges. But like I said, the Mercury retrograde mid-December until early January is really wonderful because it's going to give you the opportunity to kind of reevaluate what you love, what you want. You will see Mercury go retrograde into your 4th house and it'll conjunct Mars. So it's going to be about finally cutting ties with the past so you can move more strongly into your future relationships. And it might also mean that there's some changes going on with you emotionally or on the home front, and you might be kind of seeking some, like, you know, support and some companionship from another person as you're kind of moving through that. So definitely be listening for the predictions for the Mercury retrograde, because that's gonna, for the mutable signs, the mutable risings, it's gonna throw you for a little bit of a loop, especially being a late degree Virgo rising. Over the next couple of years, like I said, you know, Saturn and Neptune conjunct your descendants. Neptune will actually hit 29 degrees next year. So when that happens, there is a sense of, like, you know, you'll see some people who can kind of come in and out of your life or in and out of relationship. So I would really recommend learning about that transit, because it's going to be important to kind of give people their space and also be super mindful of people who sometimes are going to be a little less than honest, or they can be a little ghosty. It really depends, but 29 degrees is a pretty significant degree in astrology, so you're going to be wanting to pay attention to that the next few years. Okay, hopefully that's helpful for you. Thanks for getting a reading, Amanda. I've got Susan, Vanina, and Heba. Hopefully you guys are doing okay. If you want to join the queue and get a reading, scan the QR code. We're going to leave it open probably for a few more minutes. All right, so we've got Susan. What's up, Susan? Susan says, I'm feeling like things are finally starting to move. It's been rough. I haven't spoken to my kids in over a year, but I'm learning to handle it. But the terrible lies and gossip about me has been unbelievable. I really hope the truth comes out, but all this has not broken me. I think it has made me a warrior. I'm ready for next year. I feel like it's going to be so much better. I just want a little guidance from my favorite astrologer, praying I get to move next year and get away from all of this. All right, well, Scorpio rising, Libra sun. Those eclipses in your 12th house are about dropping the karma of other people. And Pluto's coming up on some of your stuff in Aquarius as well. So that's also about big changes emotionally and on the home front. I'm liking these cards for you, Susan, because I really feel like this is about, like, really kind of bossing up, you know? And look at these horses. We know how you love horses. So 6 of Wands, Queen of Cups, the Emperor, and the King of Cups. Excuse me, the Knight of Cups. So first of all, I mean, we've got a number of court cards here. So it can talk about there being a few people kind of involved in some of the changes that you're going to be experiencing. I do feel like overall, these are all very positive cards. The 6 of Wands in the past position talks about overcoming challenges, being well received, being in a situation also where you're victorious in some way. So it says that you're well on your way to success, but if you notice, if you look at the card, the man who's carrying the wreath on the rod, who's riding the horse, he's above everybody else. Very similar to the 7 of Wands. Okay, so much about the 6 and the 7 of Wands is about having a higher vantage point, reaching the top, you know, being able to kind of fend off people who are causing problems or trying to bring you down or trying to distract you. This is about forward motion. This is also about positivity and really keeping your eyes on the prize. The horse is cloaked with a, you know, green material, which I think is really about moving in the direction of positivity, things that are going to produce happiness and life and growth and abundance. And so there can be this sense of you kind of like looking around being like, okay, you know, what direction do I need to head in to get away from this stuff and also focus on what's most important to me. This is more about success than it is about money, but obviously, you know, money can come with that. Then we have the Queen of Cups coming up in the center position, and she's facing the Six of Wands. So this is also about you looking at things and being like, yeah, things have been challenging, but it's about what you're overcoming. And maybe this is about tapping into your intuition and listening to your intuition as you're making decisions about what direction you should be going in, because you are moving away from some people. Just being a Scorpio rising, having eclipses in Libra, you know, this year and really into the beginning of 2025, it means that you're dropping a lot of old weight in relationships. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be, you know, old coworkers, like all kinds of stuff. There's just a sense of being like, I'm finally letting that go and I'm focusing on myself. And that North Node in Aries is about health, productivity. It's about, you know, getting stuff done and being self-sufficient and not feeling like the stuff that you're taking on from other people is weighing on you so much that it's affecting your health, because that's the polarity of the South Node in the 12th. So, you know, Queen of Cups can be about getting in touch with your emotions, you know, giving yourself the time and the space to do the emotional healing that you need to be doing. I do feel like this can be support that comes from Scorpios, Pisces, or Cancers. But I feel like right now this is also about, you know, making peace with where you're at and like focusing on the progress. And maybe it means that you're realizing like you're making more progress emotionally, spiritually, you know, just personally, having a bit of break from some of these people. Maybe you're realizing that in order for you to have a series of your own personal kind of accomplishments, there is a need to actually kind of like, you know, be at a distance from some. And then the final card that I get is the Emperor, which is why I was talking about the balance between the South Node and the North Node. The Emperor rules, you know, Aries or Mars. And right now Mars is obviously making its way through Sagittarius. So you've got the Sun and Mars and Mercury all in your second house, which is about money, resources, self-esteem. The Emperor is a card that's about being a boss. The Emperor is a card that is about guiding and navigating and leading other people by example. It can be a period where you're really kind of getting everything in order when it comes to your professional life or your business and making decisions with what's best for you or your company. This can also talk about like really channeling and working with your masculine energy. And, you know, Libra is a masculine sign. A lot of people don't realize that. Libra is a masculine sign, even though it's ruled by Venus. It is seen as a sign that takes action. So that's why it's masculine. So for a lot of like Libra suns, Libra placements right now, you know, the South Node is not just about being like, okay, what do I let go of? It's like channeling that energy and being like, there is a way for me to take action, but I'm taking action because I'm realizing where my relationships are out of balance. So with the Emperor sometimes comes anger and frustration and fevers and heat and conflict, but it only comes after he feels as if he's either been taken advantage of or, you know, he hasn't been respected. So I can only imagine like the last like month or two having planets going through your 12th house in your first house, where you're starting to see personally, like in your emotions and your feelings and your behavior, where you're like, you know what, I'm not the problem. Other people are the problem. And now you're kind of in the process of building that self-esteem and feeling more confident as planets are moving through your second house. You will have a retrograde there. So also this means that you're going to be changing the way that you look at the money that you make and what people owe you and like maybe what your worth is. I do feel like the Knight of Cups is interesting because this can also be kind of foreshadowing that it's not just about you tapping into this energy. There can be some relationship energy also that's kind of like hanging around. The Knight of Cups can sometimes be a romantic connection. It can be with a Cancer or a Pisces or a Scorpio. This can be talking about using your intuition to take action, sure. But, you know, the Knight kind of with the Queen makes me wonder if through you being more assertive, you're sorting and sifting through things much faster now and you're not wasting your time with either relationships, people, or professional things that are just like not producing what you want them to produce. You know, when I see the Queen of Cups or the Knight of Cups, you want more sweetness, right? We want positive relationships. We want to go with the flow. We want support. We want to feel like there's romance and there's connection to other people. And so I feel like the Emperor kind of coming up in between that is interesting, because these are two very watery energies. And the Emperor could literally be like, don't waste my time. You know, if this isn't making me feel good, this is a wrap. Or, you know, if you're just playing games, like, we're good here. And you're becoming very clear about what you are and are not willing to expense out emotionally. Venus is going to be in Scorpio pretty soon. So that's pretty good for a Scorpio rising chart, because you'll definitely draw in a lot of attention. And Venus rules, obviously, you know, your 7th house of partnerships, your 6th house of work and support and health. So a lot of this is just really focusing on maintaining your emotional health and like taking this time where you have space from other people to do the work on yourself that you need to do. Now that you're not being pulled in every direction with everybody else's drama, things get kind of quiet, but it's so that way, you know, you can kind of continue to kind of work on your personal power, your career, you know, the direction of where you're going with your own endeavors, and create space where potentially somebody else can come in. So I really love that, with the Knight of Cups being like the confirmation card. And really, once again, it's a lot of paying attention to your emotions. So you have Venus in Scorpio. That's right. So you're having your Venus return. And Venus is going to make a lot of aspects in December. It's going to oppose Jupiter. So there's going to see a bit of a push and a pull. It's good for Scorpio risings. And then we're also going to see, you know, Venus oppose Uranus. So definitely people kind of keeping an eye on you, and there being some strong opportunities for attraction. But I feel like for you with Saturn kind of, you know, hanging in your 5th house, you're like, I don't want to be focusing so much on other people. I want to focus more on me. And believe it or not, like I think I have probably about a dozen or so Scorpio rising, you know, clients that I can think of that have all kind of said the same thing. Not getting along with my kid, you know, we're not speaking, they're giving me space, they moved away, they don't want to hang out anymore, you know, they're becoming teenagers, because it's creating that space for you to go deeper into Saturn in the 5th, to have hobbies, to find a new love, to do something creatively, to work on your personal business. So there is a reason for this, and you'll start to see it, especially as Saturn starts trining, you know, your ascendant, or trining your Venus, right? And Libras too. A lot of Libras having eclipses in Aries. It's really about relationships. So even though you're not looking for one, it definitely might find you. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Susan. It was nice chatting with you. It's always good to read for a long-time client. All right, so we have got Heba, Michelle, and Matthew V. You guys are all on deck. All right, so Heba says, hey, it's Heba. Is it Heba or Heba? My question is about Yanis, a Scorpio. I've known him for over a year, and he has always been affectionate, and we both feel that it can work out to be a serious relationship between the two of us. My question is, since I have a different background than him, and my parents are traditional and religious, can the outcome be a healthy long-term relationship or not? Well, let's take a look. So he's an Aries and you're a Scorpio. All right, so let's pull a card. Let's see what we can find about Yanis. Ooh, the irony of me pulling the Judgment card. Oh, I mean, so, you know, obviously, I mean, the history of tarot, there's so many different connections in terms of like where the cards came from. There's a lot of practitioners that say they originally stem from Egyptian culture. You've got people who also trace this back to, you know, all kinds of connections to, you know, Judaism and kind of like the mystical tradition of the like Kabbalah. We have the cards that showed up into Italy and also France. And it became part of like social culture. But there's a lot of almost like, I guess I should say, religion that is kind of infused into parts of the tarot. Same with the Bible, right? You see like lots of spiritual stuff. Same with astrology. You see similarities with, you know, themes of astrology and what we kind of see in the Bible. The Judgment card, right, is one of the more kind of like religious cards of the deck. So this can be talking about being born again. This can talk about some big decision that's made that is like life-changing and like radical, and it's about the faith and the connection that you have in something. And so I see this as something that, like, that's why I said the irony of the situation, as kind of insinuating that it is very possible that if somebody makes a decision to enter into this relationship and it's something that is very serious, then it's very likely that you guys have the opportunity to go the distance, and maybe, I dare even say, get married. I'm not going to say base this all off of just 2 tarot cards, but 4 of Wands is the marriage card. But it makes me feel like somebody would definitely have to make some sense of a dedication or a commitment, or like really proving their dedication potentially to like a ritual or a religious belief. Sometimes I see this as the resurrection. Sometimes I see this also as connected to energy that's about conversion in religion, or like baptism, or like being saved again. So I'm not entirely sure like what the religious or cultural differences are, but it definitely seems to me like there's something that would have to happen in order for the 2 of you guys to come together. But I do read the Judgment card in the 4 of Wands is basically saying it's like a, you know, a big decision and like a proclamation of like love for one another, and that maybe if it were to be serious, that you would go down the traditional path of the process of unifying as one, or the traditional kind of wedding, or the build up that you would need to be doing in terms of the religious or spiritual kind of preparation before potentially getting married. For me, the Judgment card, you know, outside of this, just generally can be about having serious conversations about being like, if we do this, these are the repercussions, or if this is the plan, this is the decision that we have to make. And decisions, you know, with the Judgment card are very different than Justice, because Justice is kind of like, what are we supposed to do? What's the right thing to do, right? It's about being just and kind of assessing the situation and practicing balance and fairness. Judgment is basically saying this is the effects of the decisions that you've already made. It's not whether it's right or wrong. It's just where the cookie, or I guess not the cookie crumbles. This is where the cards lie. The 4 of Wands makes me feel like, yeah, there is not just an opportunity for union, but to me this seems like this is about requiring the participation of a group of people. So for example, if you're involved in a practice religiously where, you know, parents are involved in the engagement, or, you know, there is a whole series of events or traditional kind of practices leading up to potentially getting married or doing these things, like it looks like that this will happen. Because this is a card that's about community. So I feel like this is about, you know, having to bring in other people, you know, in the situation. So you might have a conversation with this person and be like, look, if we're going to do this, this is what my family is looking for. This is what my family wants. And, you know, getting married or, you know, sharing our life together is going to be like a group endeavor. You know, are you aware of what you're getting involved in? And then allowing that person to kind of take time to take it in and then make a decision. But I do feel like there will have to be a definitive decision or judgment about, you know, the religious or the spiritual practices in order to see the relationship all the way through and to go the distance. But I do feel like it's very possible. And I do feel like it's about laying this out probably over like the next couple of months and being like, okay, if our goal is to get from here to here, these are all the things that it entails. Are you sure you want to do that? Lay it all out there. It doesn't seem super heavy to me. Sometimes the Judgment card can be. But with the Judgment card and the 4 of Wands, it almost makes me wonder, like, if you're going to be bringing somebody around your family or whatever, and then explaining to them, once I do this, you know, or once you start getting invited to the holidays, or once you go with us to worship or whatever, like, this is going to, you know, become a part of the family or a part of our practice. But I think it can be a positive thing. It can definitely be a decision that's made that leads to a union. Really interesting. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I'm seeing, so it's the opposite. You're in Aries. He's he's a Scorpio. I guess what I will say is that the odds are kind of in your favor. So because you're in Aries and the eclipses in the South Node or 7th house to your sun, it's kind of like if relationships come in great, it's like they're either there or they're not there, but it's not supposed to rock you because you're supposed to be focusing more on you. And then on the other end of that, you've got, somebody who's a Scorpio who's having Jupiter and Uranus in the 7th house. So there can be sudden movements in the direction of relationships. Scorpio risings, especially next year. And Jupiter Uranus can be unusual ceremonies or practices or like group practices, spiritual practices. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay, so we've got Michelle, Matthew, and then Vanessa and Dante. Michelle says, what can I focus on to have my greatest glow up in 2024? I like that question. And you're born October 4th, 94. Well, you're 29, my dear. So buckle up. Put a helmet on. You're coming into your Saturn's return. So, being a Libra, you're having South Node eclipses on your sun. So that's big changes to your identity, big changes to your ego. And you're having Saturn return in Pisces, 6 signs to your sun. Watch your health. Watch your health. Watch your ego. This is a lot of what you can get rid of, what you can do away with. Big things happen during your Saturn return. That's like the real kind of grow up period. Saturn return glow ups are very real. They are very, very real. There's the Tower again. That better not be the card of the evening. It's going to make me mad. So we've got the Tower, the 10 of coins, and the Hermit card. Yeah, that seems very Saturn returny for me. Seems very Saturn returny to me. It's kind of like it's going up and then it's going down, then it's going up, then it's going down. It's a bit of a roller coaster, that transit. The Tower card in the previous position, though, is kind of saying like it's really taking the foundation of your life and shaking everything and being like, okay, whatever is falling apart, like it's shaking it loose. Pisces, where your Saturn is not in the best aspect to your sun because Pisces and Libra created in conjunct. They're not really communicating with each other very well. Venus and Libra energy wants balance and beauty and harmony and also like relationships. And like Pisces is just, sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it needs time to reflect on things and to be alone. And so there's some things that you're supposed to be working out through this transit that doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always allow you to have the time to do the things you want. Sometimes it also creates some health problems. And I feel like the Tower card can also be about Uranus as well, which for a Libra is, 8th house to their sun. So that's also about some kind of shakeup that's happening very suddenly and unexpectedly. Whatever is kind of breaking down or changing or falling apart right now is rightfully so. It needs to go. And I think maybe it's about looking at this next year as being like, okay, this is like the cosmic clearing up or clearing out. I would also pay attention to Uranus transits, right? So you're going to see like Venus is going to oppose Uranus in the next month. We're going to see, what else are we going to see? Uranus is still retrograde, but Jupiter's going to go direct, which isn't too far away. And then you're going to have some conjunctions in the spring. Intuitively, I feel like this is you looking at things going, okay, I can mourn over whatever like didn't work or what fell apart or like what shocking or surprising things kind of came up. Or I can see it as the universe removing things from my life that didn't serve me, clearing the path, creating space. I like to use the example, like sometimes clients will come to me and they'll be like, I don't understand why this is happening, or like, why is everything falling apart, or things are blowing up. And I always tell clients, like, people don't often realize that in order to get from point A to point B, sometimes there's a lot of clearing out. So you can't sit and go, well, I really want a new job and I want to make more money and I want to have more freedom, or, I just really, really, really want love. I just want a relationship to work, and they're in one that's not working. and the relationship blows up or the job blows up, and then they come to me for the reading and they're like, why are these bad things happening to me? And I'm like, well, are you not asking for a better job? Well, yeah, I am. Okay, well, how are you going to get a better job if you're not willingly looking for it? You know, the job's blowing up. You're having your tower moment so it can bring you to the next best thing or the next best relationship. So for you, part of what I'm seeing is that there are things that are being removed here. You know, with the Tower card, it's basically saying like, yeah, you're going to have some tumbles, but 10 of coins is saying that it's trying to get you thinking about the long term. Where do you want to be in 10 years? How do you want to be feeling? Where are you going to feel the most successful? Where should you be investing your time or your money or your energy? Earthly things, because this is Pentacles. So, you know, it's funny because I do feel like a lot of this is about you reflecting on where you want to be down the road. You know, for Libras, eclipses in Aries is about relationships. You've also got all kinds of transits that are going to be happening, 4th house to your sun, which is about big changes with home and family. So you're in the midst of it right now. I mean, it's all going to be happening over the next couple of months. Be more focused on your long-term goals and really asking yourself if it's worth making some of the sacrifices or the changes now, if it means it's going to serve you better down the road. And then the Hermit card coming up is really reiterating and kind of talking about taking time to be alone and reflecting and looking at this period of time as needing to do the work necessary, and a lot of lessons coming from some of the changes that you're going to be having, you know, this particular year. Confirmation card for that was the Queen of Swords. So I think it's about, honestly, I think this is about either saying or coming to terms with or vocalizing, realizing that it's better to have time either alone or to have less or to have, you know, like what quality relationships, what quality jobs, what quality connections, than having stuff just for the sake of having it. Does that make sense? It's almost like you're like, okay, I'll either be alone, right? The Hermit card, or I'm only going to choose things of quality. And if I'm getting things that are chaotic and that are not actually supporting me, if they're bringing me stress, then that's not for me. And if that means that I need to go a period of time of not having as much, you know, resources, or not having, you know, a job because I'm finding something that's better, or not having a relationship because I'm not settling, you're going to realize that when you're focusing more on quality, that you're going to enrich your life a little bit more. So you'll be more willing to kind of have some rug pull moments and kind of clear some stuff out. That Queen of Swords, I mean, you know, you are a Libra, so this can be talking about really getting in touch with that. And Libra energy is not just about, you know, being super friendly and being a partner and, you know, finding the balance and perfecting things. Libra energy is also people who kind of step in and go like, this is right, this is wrong, this isn't working, that's working. They're very intellectual. They're an air sign. So I think a lot of this is about learning to speak up and, you know, really reflecting on what it is that you want, what you value. And even though you might feel like there are some things that kind of come up that are kind of like it's putting a kink in some of your plans, and you may not want to upset some people or some relationships, or you might not want to upset the apple cart, but you might look at things and go, I have to in the long run. You know, if I need to get to where I want to go, some of these things are going to have to change, and it may cause some disruptions with other people. But this is about really getting in alignment with your thoughts and your words and becoming more direct with people. So yeah, it really depends on the degree of your Saturn as well. So I would say usually when it gets about 10 degrees away from your natal Saturn placement, things start to kind of ease up. But don't be afraid to have those difficult conversations, I think, with the Tower and the Queen of Swords. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Michelle. We've got Matthew V, Vanessa, Dante. Let's see. So Matthew says, hey, Queen. So I went to New York City a couple of days ago and had a really great trip. I actually met someone while I was there who I had a really great time with. I definitely rushed into my last relationship, so I'm trying to take things slow with my love life and the new people I'm meeting, but was wondering what the potential would be with this guy, or anything you can tell me about my love life currently. I got you. Matt says, I forgot to mention I'm a Taurus sun, Libra moon, and this guy is a Capricorn sun, Scorpio moon. Okay, so you're a Cancer rising. So a lot of the Mercury retrogrades in your 7th, and you're like, could this go somewhere? Especially because Mercury in your 7th house of relationships, when it retrogrades, it's going to trine Jupiter in your 3rd. So there can be a lot of like, you know, do we keep talking? Can we see each other? Like, how could this work? And I think it's like the 7th, 8th, and the 18th. Those are really good days for those chats. So, okay, Scorpio in the 5th house. Yeah. So let's take a look. So, Capricorn sun, Scorpio moon. So you're trying to tell me he's daddy? Is that what you're telling me? Those are some interesting combos. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see what Matt needs to know about his love life, or maybe with this man that he's met. Ooh, bonus card in New York City. I love that the Ace of Pentacles just like flew out of there. Like, hi, don't forget about me. There is the 10 of Cups and the 4 of Wands again. Did his apartment smell of rich mahogany and leather-bound books? Okay, so first of all, Ace of Coins jumped out first. And so for me, when a card jumps out, I always read it. Ace of Coins talks about something valuable. It's like, hold on a second, there's something here. And not wanting to let go of it, right? So whether somebody were to put, you know, a gold coin in your hand, or a piece of chocolate, or a piece of gold, whatever, something valuable that you're like, no, I don't want to give that back. The Ace of Coins says like there's something that's potentially valuable here. And aces deal with seeds. So there's something, I'm gonna show that. That was a Ron Burgundy quote from Anchorman, but I would assume, yeah, Capricorn Scorpio placements have that. But Ace of Pentacles is saying there's something valuable here that is worth holding on to, and it can be about planting a seed of something that could eventually grow in the future. 10 of Cups, the Fool card, and the 4 of Wands. To me, this is almost like you being that person who's just taking your ass back to the airport to get on a plane to potentially go back and visit, or being hopelessly and gloriously optimistic about the potential future with a connection here. All of these cards are absolutely wonderful. And I think if you've seen my readings before, you know that I'm pretty between the eyes about stuff, but I really feel like there's something here. I do feel like it's important to use those dates that I gave you to really kind of suss this out and be like, could this be a possible, you know, potential? Being a Cancer rising and having Saturn in your 9th house, this could literally manifest as a long distance relationship, and a back and forth that you're doing before eventually, you know, you could consider maybe making either a job change or a home change down the road. 10 of Cups talks about complete emotional joy and fulfillment. I think in the past position, it's kind of feeling like after maybe, you know, you've been, you know, kind of taking a break from dating or coming out of your last relationship and really healing or doing a lot of work. Like there's a lot of like excitement and happiness and feeling like really joyful because there's a connection here that's been made. If it was a quick connection, you know, maybe the Lover's card, the Devil card, you know, one of the Knights or something coming up, but that's not coming up. The 10 of Cups shows 2 people embracing each other. So to me, that seems like the door is open to being able to connect with this person in real life. The Fool card is about taking chances. So maybe this is about you being more open and optimistic to the idea of being like, look, I can still have my freedom, but also potentially like a growing or a budding relationship with somebody. And it gives you the freedom to kind of come and go or to try something different that you haven't done before. When this card comes up, you know, there is always a sense of like either the recommendation or how a client is feeling is like kind of throwing caution to the wind and being like, you know, we're going to see how this goes. We're not going to jump to any conclusions. I don't have any expectations, but let's just see if we can give this thing a run. 4 of Wands does talk very specifically about being able to move forward in this relationship, maybe seeing each other, you know, every so many increments of 4, every 4 months, you know, or so. I do think that this does talk about like a future event pending. So this can be like, oh, there's this thing coming up. Like, do you want to go? There's a concert. There's a get together. You know, we're going out of town, or like some place that you guys might be able to meet in the middle. Doing something that might be like a short stint, but it does have to do with like an event outside or a gathering. Sometimes this can be a festival. Sometimes this can be a concert. And like, once again, look, two people embracing each other. So there is a sense of having more togetherness in the future. And then, you know, the confirmation card is the Page of Cups, essentially saying it's the beginning of a relationship. But as far as I can see, it's almost as if like, if you want to have that conversation, you can, you know, you'll have another opportunity in January where you're going to see Jupiter and Mercury trine again. But I feel like this is the kind of thing where if you just keep going back and forth and you kind of keep talking, it may naturally just go in the direction of being like, obviously, you know, like this is the beginning of a relationship. So you can talk about it preemptively, but I don't even feel like you really have to, because the Ace of Pentacles is almost saying like, in a way, it's already kind of, the seed has been planted. I'm not going to say it's in the bag, but the seed has been planted. So if you wanted to continue to go back and forth and talk to each other or see each other, like it could definitely be a thing that could happen. And I think it might give you the best of both worlds, to be honest with you, because so much of your astrology right now is about making changes also in your professional life. And if you feel like that's something that you could do more easily if you're not totally consumed and around a relationship all of the time, this might actually be like a happy medium. Great reading. I definitely feel like I would continue connecting with that person, because it does seem like there is a lot of potential there. So we've got Vanessa, Dante, and then Fiorella. Vanessa. What's up, Vanessa? What's going on? She says, I have two separate questions. Okay, and by the way, when I read this, my jaw dropped, because I was like, man, I knew this fucker was going to come back. So Vanessa says, two questions. One, a person from the past named Paul requested me on Facebook a week ago. I did accept it, but he has not dropped a single hello, nothing. Is this really him, or is this someone else, like his wife, girlfriend, or whatever, hacking into his account and being nosy on Facebook? What the heck is this all about? I haven't communicated with him in 2 years. Put a pin in that. And then two, I have a longtime friend that I'd like a loyalty check on. She's a Sag, 12, 20, 80. She's never been shady to me by talking to my ex, my child's dad, like he's being a snitch to him about me. Is she a genuine friend, like person I can trust? Okay. All right, so let's take a look. You're welcome, Matt. All right, so first of all, can I just tell you that this Mercury retrograde is super messy because of the conjunction to Mars in Sagittarius and the square to Neptune. And I remember Paul's chart because he's a Gemini, and I remember all the mutable stuff that he has going on. And so Gemini can be about social media. This retrograde is going on in your 12th house. Or excuse me, it's connected to your 12th house. It's going on in your 6th. So there can be a lot of like, because the Mercury retrograde starts in the 7th of relationships and it drops into the 6th and it opposes a bunch of stuff. A lot of like confusion about communication from ex-partners, like what people really want, people who might be kind of stalking and looking on social media. These cards jumped out. So we've got 6 of coins. The Hierophant. Oh my God, there's the Ace of Coins again. Ah! Ah! Okay, so I do not feel like this is a spouse. I don't feel like this is a woman. I feel like that would have been a court card that would have come up. But I feel like, yeah, I mean, the Moon card being the confirmation, I do feel like he's trying to make a connection. It's almost like the 6 of Coins is saying like, okay, I'm gonna reach out there and I'm gonna say something, and like, let's see if they bounce back and if they respond. So he's casting the line to see if you're gonna take the bait. And the Hierophant and the Ace of Pentacles does make me feel like there would be a lack in connection. So it's almost like he's connecting, but I don't really see like a physical connection. Like he's connecting and then he's kind of testing the waters and then he's going to kind of like scamper back. The Moon card talks about being hidden. In both situations, in regards to both people, I feel like they're going to do the right thing, okay? So if he is in a relationship, he's married, he's got a partner, whatever, I don't feel like he's going to actually like reach forward and make physical connection and contact. I feel like in regards to your friend, it's a situation where I think she's loyal to you. I don't see it being a situation where she's snitching and giving information. But I will tell you, either she does or she's got, you know, some kind of other mutual connection, I think, to your ex. So if this makes sense. So you can talk to Paul. I do think it's him. But I don't see it manifesting as like a physical connection. I don't think you're getting catfished. And if you do decide to stay friends with this friend of yours, I think you can trust her. I don't think that she's, you know, snitching or doing anything or giving any information away, but I do feel like there is like another connection between her and your ex. And I wonder if it's more that there's either him reaching out and touching in contact with her and kind of getting in touch with her, or if he's kind of fishing to see stuff. But I definitely feel like you can trust her. I think that she has your back. Six of Coins is really the one for me that does it. It's kind of like, okay, you know, like it's a fair even give and take. You can trust this person, and they are, with the Hierophant, going to respect the relationship in the way that it stands. So at least you got that working for both situations. Both of them are going to be honest and trustworthy. The one thing that I'm not crazy about, though, I think with him is that he's reaching out to see if there's a connection there, or he's kind of like feeling the water, but he's just doing it because it looks like he's trying to see if there's still a connection. I also feel like he's doing it because the retrograde that's coming, and there can be a sense of wanting to see what else is out there if he's getting bored. But I don't think it's going to lead to a physical connection, right? Hopefully that's helpful. What's up, Michelle? Were you Michelle D? If you are, I did your reading. It was like 2 readings ago. You'll be able to catch this on the replay. Vanessa, are you watching live? I don't want to cut you off if you're not. Or if you are, excuse me. So yeah, you can trust both of them, but I don't think you're going to be meeting with that dude in person, personally. Hopefully that's helpful, Vanessa. We've got Dante. What's up, Dante? What is your question, my dear? Fiorella, I've got you. Next 6 months. Okay. Rachel, and then Kelly. Cool. Okay. Watch especially around the second part of December, Vanessa. At the second part of December, you're going to see there can be a sense of somebody trying to reach back out and reconnect. But it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be completely just somebody just trying to kind of see what's going on and then dipping out. Oh, you unfriended him. Okay, good. I don't see it being anybody other than him. I think he was trying to see if you were going to make a move, personally. Dante, are you here? Let's see, did you ask a question? I sent in other cards. Let me update this. Dante, did you send it from a different account? Oh, there you go. I only see the one payment from you. see, unless it came through another name. New me, negative, old me would have said something for sure. Well, I'm glad you didn't take the bait. I am so glad you didn't take the bait on that one, because trust me, no bueno. It's almost as if I get the vibe that he's like, with that 6 of coins, it's like, I'm going to put this out there and see if she takes the bait. And if she doesn't, I'm not doing anything wrong because she's pursuing me. Like, no. Dante's a Virgo rising, Leo sun, Scorpio moon, Gemini Mars. Let me know if you want me to do 3 cards. I only see 1 payment from you. That's why I'm asking. Unless you want me to give you a minute, I could skip you. Let me know. I will take Fiorella. Let me know if you want to do 1 or 3. Okay, so what will be the main themes for me for the next 6 months? Thank you. Just in case, I'm October 3rd, 94. Okay, another Libra going through their Saturn return. This is going to be for Fiorella for the next 6 months. What you need to be aware of. Oh my goodness, I'm so sick of that Tower card. Can that not be the card of the evening, please? Okay, so I've got Queen of Pentacles, the Judgment card, and the 6 of Swords. And then the confirmation card is the Tower. You know, for me, okay, cool, thanks. Libra rising, Sun in Libra, Virgo moon. For me, maybe this is about tapping into that Virgo moon of yours, Queen of Pentacles. So this can be, you know, support that's coming from Virgos, Capricorns, or Tauruses. This can be about becoming more secure and stable and solid in regards to your value, your resources, your money, your professional life. I think that in the past position is being like, okay, I'm really taking stock in what it is that I need in order to grow. How I see myself focusing better on productivity, making more, feeling more stable, feeling more independent, and also feeling more mature when it comes to your relationship with material things. You've been working on this. This is something you've been doing all year. So, you know, that being in the past position matched with the Judgment card is saying that you've made a decision about what you need to do to level up in order to feel more stable, to make more money. You know, it looks like you're making moves. So I'm wondering, with Saturn retrograde, in Pisces, it's going retrograde through your 6th house. Are you saying like, I'm changing jobs, I have to change something about my schedule, I'm cutting back on something, you know, in my diet, I'm finally getting rid of bad habits? Like, you're leaving something behind, you're moving away from something. And it looks like you're doing it because you're realizing that it's not going to give you support in the long run. You might be realizing that it's going to actually create more problems for you in the long run, or you're realizing that it's just a crutch or something that you're doing because it's helping you cope. The Judgment card in the 6 of Swords is definitely about being like, I have to make the difficult decision to move on from something. And it doesn't mean that that's necessarily what you want to do, but you're doing it because you feel like you need some peace, or that you need to be able to get to a point where you're no longer returning back to these old patterns or these old habits. The 6 of Swords can talk about movement, travel, relocation. And I wonder, with the Queen of Pentacles and the Judgment card, if this is about making some big decisions about your home life and where you're living. You know, as a Libra rising, Mercury is about to go retrograde through your 4th house. And so this is about a rearranging of your emotions, your home, your family, or your past in some way. And it might mean that you're just really trying to kind of move on from, you know, past drama emotionally, or that with, you know, family members potentially. And the Tower card, being the confirmation card, is basically saying like, there are going to be some things that, you know, you're having to confront that might seem scary or overwhelming, but keep it moving, right? Keep it moving with that 6 of Swords coming up. Focus more on getting to a point where you're going to have like more peace. All these planets going into the bottom part of your chart for the next couple of months is a lot about self-integration. It's going to be about your routine, your habits, your home, your happiness, working on your finances, your money. And then you're going to see something new that's going to emerge for you in April of next year as planets go through your 7th house. And it's more like where you're being seen. It's also more like for relationship timing. So really for me, this is about moving on from anything that's not really benefiting you physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, and making the decision to keep it moving if it's going to be something that's not going to actually like add to your growth or benefit you or your health or your career. That Tower card though, oof, I do feel like there is some stuff that moving on from can definitely create a bit of static. And I think about, you know, how planets right now, especially Venus, is coming into a square with Pluto. So you may feel like you're having to be the one who's calling out some, you know, disruptions at home or with the family or with roommates. You may feel like the one who's also having to kind of do a little bit more work in order to kind of make this change happen. If it's not happening, then it looks like you're going to walk away from some of these situations. But health and money seems to be on your mind, and that needs to be the focus, being committed to anything that's going to be about your growth. Okay? Good luck. I hope that's helpful. Thank you, Dante. Okay, so I got you here. I'd like to know if I'll get this record deal in 2024. I'm a Virgo rising, Leo sun, Scorpio moon, Gemini Mars. Well, you got a couple things working in your favor. Being a Virgo rising, Jupiter's going to go into your 10th house next year, which is going to expand your career. And it's going to hit your Mars or come close, which is the ruler of your 8th house. So that's about having access to money. And Mars and Gemini together makes me feel like it's about writing things. So it could be writing music, signing contracts, that kind of stuff. Saturn going into the 7th house can also be a lot about working with management and having somebody manage you and kind of help, you know, direct your growth. You'll see intermittently next year, Saturn and Jupiter will square each other. So you're going to have Saturn in your kind of management relationship house, managing your relations with, you know, other people out in the world, Jupiter in the 10th. So you might feel a little corralled. That's the feeling that I'm getting personally. There might be a lot of like, well, I want this. And you're like, they're like, you need to wait. You need to pay your dues. You know, that's kind of the vibe. Let's check these cards for you. So we've got the Strength card, the 9 of Cups, and the King of Wands crossed with the 5 of Coins. I mean, it's like literally what I was seeing. I was like, there's going to be growth, but then there's going to be a sense of being like, wait, let me do my thing. And maybe that's just, I mean, I can't speculate because I've never had a record deal. But from what I understand and what I've heard from a number of people who I know who have, there is definitely this sense of like kind of needing to pump the brakes sometimes the first year, you know, until you get your sea legs or until you're really kind of out there and potentially strutting your stuff or making money or whatever. There can be a sense of like really needing to follow the guidance of the label or, you know, whoever's managing you because they might want to kind of mold you that first year. So I think about that looking at that 5 of Coins. Okay, first of all, cards are great. Look at all that yellow. So that's about creativity, excitement, you know, being able to be on stage, create, share, all that fun stuff. The King of Wands is the performer, okay? So for me, I would say just getting that maybe with the 9 of Cups would be like, look, you're going to have an opportunity to do what you want to do. The Strength card does kind of indicate that the timing that you're looking at is probably going to be right around Leo's season of 2024. So July, August is a time that I would kind of put in the back of my mind. You know, Mars is going to come into conjunction with Jupiter next year. And that's going to be a really interesting energy because that can be when you're like, okay, I'm initiating and starting something new. I don't know exactly when that transit is, but I have a feeling it's going to be sometime in the summer. So that's probably right around the time that you might see this. And the Strength card is about nurturing and letting some of these things come to fruition on their own, not feeling like you need to force it. You know, realize potentially going into like a deal with like a label, like it's a relationship. So the Strength card with relationships, we don't want to push them. We want to let them come to us. So obviously, you know, nurturing the relationship with any potential business, you know, collaboration is great, but it's like not feeling like you need to force it, letting the right person kind of come to you. And also just using your talent and your charm to be able to kind of bring them in, and letting it happen naturally. And then you have the 9 of Cups, which is like this is the wish card. Like if you're like, this is something I really want, and this card comes up, for a client, I'm really quick to be like, looks like you're going to get it. Your wish is going to be fulfilled. But what's interesting is that the wish with the King of Wands is about not just being like, I get it, but like, I'm getting it and I get the freedom and I get the travel and I get the creative freedom, and also like the ability to perform and like really, be seen as a professional and like really kind of own it. So, these cards are extremely positive for what you're hoping to make happen in terms of having a potential record deal. But in the back of my mind, before I even pulled these cards, I was like, I have this feeling that he's not going to be crazy about that Jupiter-Saturn square. And then the 5 of Coins comes up. So it's saying, in order to get to where you want to go, it's going to come at a cost, and there's going to be a sense of making sacrifices. And I think we've seen this with like a lot of like, artists that sign and like first kind of cut their teeth, and they have to make that album, or they have to do that type of music or perform that kind of music or do the shows. That's like what the label wants. And so I'm not generalizing that. I'm saying that because I had a feeling, and then that 5 of Coins came up. So there is going to be this feeling of doing what you want to do, but it coming at a cost, or that there is some kind of sacrifice for what we know. It could be time. It might mean that there's a lot of success, but there's a lot of spending time alone, that there can be a sense of feeling like, yeah, you got what you wanted, but it's challenging because it's coming with a lot of work and a lot of travel and a lot of isolation. So just be mindful that it's going to come, but it definitely looks like there's going to be some challenges, and you're going to have to be willing to kind of give a little bit along the way. Okay? Good luck. Circle back. Let us know. Obviously, when that happens. Rachel says, there's a lot of Virgo risings tonight. Yes, there is. Okay, so we've got, let's see, who else? Who else? Okay, so we got Dante, Jessica. Okay, Rachel, Kelly, and T. Okay, Rachel. What's up, Rachel? Rachel says, I would love a card on Pajama Guy. We were casual as usual. Then another guy came in to date me, and he swooped back in saying he wanted to be in a relationship with me. So now we're together, but I'm wondering if this is the real deal or it's fleeting again. Thank you. Get your popcorn ready. Will 2024 manifest as the year where Pajama Guy finally shows up and stays committed? What is his sign again? Isn't he an Aries? I could have sworn he was an Aries. So many Virgos in the house tonight. So funny. There's like trends, where you'll just see like all the Libras and all the Sagittariuses that are like burning the house down, and the Scorpios that want to ask questions but not tell you that they're Scorpios. We see these trends. Oh boy. Well, Aries sun. Ding ding. Okay, so for me, right, I think about how, Venus is going through 7th house to his sun, the connection to the South Node, the square to Pluto, being like the potential, loss of that connection, of that relationship. The Magician card is a bit of a grab bag, because, do we want somebody to come in and like totally change and transform our lives? Do we want to see magic and mysticism? Yeah. Do we want to be entertained? Absolutely. But this could also be somebody who's portraying something that can be an illusion. It can be. That's why I pulled the confirmation card. Because sometimes the Magician card can be like the used car salesman that's like, yes, everything's great, buy the car. And then 2 weeks later, the car is breaking down and you're like, oh, I should have not trusted that person. Knight of Wands being the confirmation card for the Magician tells me that he does want to change. So this is not somebody who's coming in that's trying to play games, that's, you know, trying to, you know, take advantage of the situation. I do feel like the Magician card with the Knight of Wands is saying, I am actively working on, you know, going after what I want. I'm willing to work on things. There's no guarantee though, because this is a lot of fire here between the Magician and the Knight of Wands. It's saying like, I'm actively trying to make things happen. Here's how I look at this. Until you start seeing like Venus oppose Uranus, which you're going to see next month, that might be when you start to see some challenges, especially because, you know, Venus is going to be in Scorpio. It's going to be in his 8th house to his sun. It's going to oppose Uranus and Taurus, which means quite literally a Taurus whom he's in a relationship with can be like, yo, this ain't working for me. Like this isn't working. So very quickly, I think you would see off the bat, you know, whether or not he's just rushing back into this or out of this. Definitely not the card that I would pull for being like, yes, everything's going to be stable and consistent and fine. This is like, well, things are going to be really interesting. There's going to be a lot of passion. You're going to see a major pickup in momentum where before maybe there was like this sense of like, okay, we're doing this, but we're not calling it anything. And now you are. He's at least going to take action trying to change and transform the dynamic of this particular relationship. So maybe he's like, okay, you know, we need to make those changes, but the changes have to come from him, right? So it needs to be him showing you, hey, I've got everything, you know, necessary to be able to, you know, go through the shift to give you what it is that you need to feel secure. Because it's not just about the wands. The wands is passion. We're also looking at the cups, which is about being emotionally vulnerable. Pentacles, which is about being stable and reliable. And then we've also got the swords, which is about the communication. And so what I like about this is the Magician says, like, if I can dream it, I can make it a reality. So have you guys had conversations about being like, okay, if we're going to be in a relationship, what's going to change? You know, how is this going to be different on your end? Do you realize that you can't just kind of like run in and out of this if you're going to be committed? And I would have that conversation with him so it registers and he realizes that it's not just, oh, I'm going to swoop in on this so somebody else doesn't take you. It's, if you're choosing to be in this relationship and we partner together, how do we show up for each other all of the time? And what action are you taking, right? Knight of Wands, to show me that we're actually building towards a healthy future relationship together. So there's a lot of motivation and there's a lot of opportunity here for change, but it's very much up in the air. It's okay. If he says he's going to do it, watch and see what he does, because he does have the ability to change here. But intuitively, I think about how, you know, Venus will oppose Uranus in this next month, and it likely could manifest as a Taurus being a little pissed at him about whether or not he's actually doing his due diligence to work on the relationship. And being a Virgo rising, you know, the Mercury retrogrades in your 5th house. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth as to whether or not the two of you guys can get on the same page about what you need in order to feel loved and secure. And Saturn's in your 7th house as well. So I do feel like this can be a major turning point. You know, usually retrogrades in the 5th and Saturn in the 7th, romantic partners do return. That's pretty common. But will he do it? Queen of Pentacles says that you're dedicated to seeing him pull through and that you're willing to try to make it work. So I feel like through your consistency and like trust and encouragement, there can be a sense of growth within the relationship. But really, like the power is in your hands. And I remember saying to you, I was like, yeah, like you're going to see a situation where somebody else is going to come in and you're going to have your choice. Isn't Pluto squaring your Venus right now too? I think that's happening as well. Just be careful because he's a runner. That's all. He's a runner, but you know this. Okay, we've got Kelly, T, Yoga with Silk. I don't know, Rachel. I think you might actually really make it happen this time. And Saturn and Jupiter are going to start sextiling each other now. So Saturn in your relationship house is going to start sextiling all your planets in the 9th. So you got to tell them it's time for you guys to start doing things together. You guys got to be going places. Go and camp or field trip or do something. Because if you can go out and travel a little bit together and be out in the wilderness, it can help you guys grow. Yeah. Pluto square Venus will do that. That will definitely push that through and make some changes. And Saturn in the 7th as well. But this is his, I think this is his last chance. All right, so Kelly says, one card, whatever comes up. You got it. Ooh. Perfect, Rachel. I get the Hanged Man. Let me put it upright for you. There you go. Crossed with the 5 of Swords. Well, interesting. So the Hanged Man can talk about a couple things. Usually for me, this is a card that's like, wait, think about it. You're in limbo. You're in between, trying to reassess something before you make a decision. I do also see this as pause and reflect, kind of seeing something from a different perspective. The 5 of Swords crossing this makes me feel like there can be a sense in you sitting on something before deciding to have a conversation or confronting somebody because you're afraid of it blowing up or turning into a bit of a conflict, and you're trying to assess how to better make a change without there being any confrontational energies or any misunderstandings or arguments. This card is also connected to Pisces, where currently we have Neptune and Saturn, and Neptune's going to be going direct pretty soon. So this can be talking about looking at the Pisces area of your chart. Maybe you're waiting for you to, have some kind of epiphany, have a dream, get some sign from the universe, something that's going to tell you that you should move forward and make a decision. But to me, there's this feeling of being stuck. Being stuck or feeling as if you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. This coming up with the 5 of Swords is kind of being like, I can say something, but I might feel like I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Or maybe going back and forth and questioning whether or not it's worth raising a concern or talking to somebody about something. And that Hangman is kind of like, okay, until I feel like the time is right, or I have more clarity on the situation, or I'm able to kind of sit back and think about it, or have a dream, or have an intuitive gut feeling, or get a reading, then I can make a move. So I'm wondering what this thing is that you might feel stuck with. Maybe there's a feeling of being blocked. That's the other way I could look at this. The Hangman with the 5 of Swords can be kind of looking at the situation going, well, I'm feeling blocked and I'm not really too sure how to proceed forward, because when I do, I'm getting pushback, or there is some kind of like delay or some kind of challenge with breaking through something. The Hangman can also talk about self-undoing. So maybe there can be a sense of you being so worried about having a conversation with somebody that might turn out the wrong way that you stunt yourself from even approaching the topic. Or sometimes this can be about, mental health related issues, addiction related issues. I don't get confirmation cards that's saying that, but I do feel like there can be a sense of overthinking things to the point where you're like stuck and feeling like, you don't know which decision to make or which end is up, because you're in a state of suspension, because there can be so much anxiety surrounding around having a conversation or making a choice. When these cards come up like this and you're kind of feeling like you're at a crossroads, I always lean into the medicine of the Hangman as, being able to consider another perspective, or, sleeping on it, meditating, doing a little journaling and reflecting and asking yourself, what is blocked behind the scenes, or where are you having a blind spot that you need to work through on an emotional or on a spiritual level. Because to me, it seems like, with the 5 of Swords, even if you're, working up the guts to kind of finally tackle this situation or have the conversation or move through the difficult topic, you might feel like you get to that and then you don't even see any resistance at all. So much of overcoming this might be mental, or it might be spiritual, and working up the nerve to finally kind of tackle or overcome a hurdle that you've been wanting to for some time. And you might be psyching yourself out. That's the other way that I could look at this, because the 5 of Wands is about this mental strife. And you see people are walking away in the background here, and they're laying their weapons down. So you might be like working yourself up about something that really, when it comes time to making the decision, making the call, making the change, it's going to be a lot easier than you think. So doing some kind of like meditative practice on preparation for overcoming some of these fears looks like it's going to be really helpful in being able to clear it out. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Kelly. I've got Is it T? Ty? Is it T? Annie? Annie, what are my major themes for the next 6 months? Good question. Yoga with Silk, Sabrina, and Marie. You guys are all up next. There you go. Virgo Sun, Scorpio Rising, Cat Moon. This is for Annie. In this order. Oh, I like this. The Empress, the Six of Coins, and the King of Pentacles. All right, so this is what I'm seeing for you. The Empress card in the previous position is talking about growth, abundance, resources, love, beauty, design, harmony, and feminine energy. So sometimes it's about working with your own feminine energy. Sometimes it's about nurturing yourself. It can be about motherhood, mothers, support that you're getting from women. And that kind of factored with the Six of Coins makes me feel like this is perhaps maybe a little bit more about back and forth and nurturing relationships. When I think of like a Scorpio rising, I think of like, you know, Mercury retrograde that's coming up pretty soon, which is going to be near your moon, right? Which can be about mothers and changing the way that you communicate and express your emotions. That can be with female siblings. That can be talking to roommates or other family members. That can be working through your emotions and kind of finding better ways to express yourself, whatever. I also think about how, you know, there's planets in your 7th house, which can be about relationships as well. And Pluto, that's going to be moving into your 4th house, which is about dramatic changes in home front and also with your family. To me, it seems like it's about embracing this Empress-like energy and focusing more on growth in life and things that are going to be more about abundance. And really focusing on, you know, how you can be kinder to yourself, more nurturing to yourself. And in turn, that is actually benefiting the relationship you have with other people. Because Six of Coins is about give and take. So this talks to me about how, you know, you're showing up and supporting other people are supporting you. You're finding that things are kind of balancing out when it comes to relationships with others. I do feel like this is talking about a really abundant time also in regards to career and professional related matters. Obviously, you know, being a Virgo sun, you might have felt this year that there was like keeping certain people at a distance, or certain things kind of at a healthy distance for you. Saturn's been in your 5th house, and maybe that's been about distance from friends, or that can be about focusing more on your own creativity and your own happiness. So it feels like now that you've been doing that, you're going to see like things are going to be stabilizing a little bit more with your relationship with other people. King of Pentacles comes up, which is about mastering career, professional, or financial matters. This can also be about connections that you have with earth signs. So this can be about Tauruses, Virgos, and Capricorns. Obviously, you are a Virgo, so this can be talking about you personally, just really mastering the art of feeling abundant and solid and secure. You know, that sun in the 11th house really wants to focus on friendships and networking and goals and friends. And, you know, this year there is, like I said, a sense of having separation from some people, but it's meant to focus on your own happiness. So whether this was distance from a male friend or a father figure or whatever, like there's a sense of having really building more on your own happiness and your own creativity. I do feel like this is about 6 months of really coming into your own in terms of realizing your worth and being able to do some solid business and some financial growth. I do feel like that 7 of Swords coming up though, you know, crossing this as being the confirmation card is about learning not to doubt yourself and not questioning whether or not, you know, you doing what you're supposed to be doing for a living, or not questioning whether or not, you know, you are worthy or capable, or if other people can be trusted, because this is crossing so many other cards that are positive. This can also be about not falling into patterns where you know, you're icing yourself out from people and making it seem as if, you know, oh, things are too good to be true. You know, can I trust somebody or can I trust the situation? Your astrology for relationships equally is really significant because you're going to see Jupiter and Uranus meeting in your 7th. So for many of you guys who are single, it's really big turning points for relationships. And if you're in a relationship, it can be about the growth period in a relationship. And what you're going to find is that communication is going to be really positive over the next month or so, because you're going to have trines between Mercury around your moon, expressing your emotions and your feelings to your 7th house of partnership. So really, this is about working on relationships with home and family, or relationships in general. And I think this is about realizing that instead of closing yourself off, if you stay open, you're willing to be a team player, you're willing to be generous with other people are going to be generous and supportive with you. And that's really going to help you grow on a professional level, but also on a financial level as well. Okay. Are you moving? You're having that retrograde that's right around your moon. So I'm wondering if you're moving, changing cars, something like that might be happening. Watch for misunderstandings with siblings. That can be a big theme over the next month. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We got yoga with silk. Is there still potential with my ex? Oh, I saw that, Annie. Good luck. If you do, make sure you look at the fine print. Make sure you like the neighborhood and everything, because you got a retrograde. So take your time making that move. Okay, Silk says, is there still potential with my ex? Ooh. Interesting card. Not often do I get that as the response. Crossed with the Hangman. Well, the Strength card for me is kind of saying, like, if you let them come back to you, that's the way that this is most likely going to happen. I think the Strength card is just like kind of standing there with your arms open, like letting them come to you. Not feeling like you need to force it, not feeling like there's an agenda, not doing it in a coercive manner. Obviously, she's embracing the lion and recognizing that he's wild. He's got his own set of, you know, direction and yeah, not really somebody who can be controlled or tamed, right? Especially without a cage, or without a whip, or without like a leash. Like she's not controlling him in any fashion. It's basically saying the way that you want to proceed forward, if there is going to potentially be a connection with this person, is you have to let them come to you. You can't chase them. And equally, you know, the Strength card is about emotional strength and vulnerability and openness and transparency and being unconditional. So is there a potential here? Yeah, sure. But I do feel like what it's saying is that it's asking both partners to go against their nature, because I don't feel like people would just walk up to a wild lion and embrace a lion, right? Something instinctually is like, this is not a good idea. This could potentially backfire. Equally, it's not in the lion's nature to just walk up to a human and be submissive. So for this to happen, it requires a lot of trust on both sides, that both parties are going to kind of lay down their weapons or let their guard down a little bit, be willing to, you know, at least engage with each other and see if it's something that can happen. But it might take a little bit of time to kind of build that trust and that willingness to have closeness again. So yes, I see it being possible. The Hangman is also saying, really think about it. You know, like whether this is like strategizing how to do this, or if this is really a good idea, if this is really what you want to do. This might mean that you feel like you're in a situation where, you know, you're waiting potentially for the right time to approach this person. Maybe you're giving them their space to kind of come around and come to you. The Hangman also tells me that this is about seeing this from the other person's perspective and really like sussing this out before you decide to make a move, and ask yourself, do you feel like that they would be comfortable and capable of being able to do some of these things? You know, coming around and letting their guard down and potentially doing things differently than how you guys did it before. Because coming back together after however you guys split or whatever happened, to me seems like it's going to be going against your guys' nature. What you guys would need to do to make the relationship work, it's going against your nature. So you really need to sit and meditate on whether or not that's something that you want to attempt to do, because you may be able to do it, but if you guys haven't had this dynamic where there is trust and openness and a sense of not making each other kind of feel like you're being attacked, it's going to be harder to kind of get them to kind of see you from that perspective. Okay? Think about it. The Hangman is saying, consider the other person's perspective of the situation. Hopefully that's helpful for you. I've got Sabrina and Marie. Sabrina says, can I ask about love life and work? I'm recently unemployed, but I'm in love with my ex-boss. Rising Aries, Sun, Sag, strong 8th house. I'm a Libra rising. Okay, so Libra rising, Aries in your 7th, and a lot of Sagittarius. Okay. Oh, Libra rising, sun, moon. Okay, I read that backwards. Hold on a second. I'm in love with my ex-boss, who's a rising Aries, sun and Sag, strong 8th house. Okay, got it. You're Libra rising, moon and sun in Taurus, 7th house. Okay, Venus in Gemini. I have plenty of options, but I find it hard to fall for someone. I have a daughter, age 3. I really want a family and a husband. Okay, cool. I got it. I had to read that a couple times. Apologies. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see. So you're unemployed, wondering if there's something you need to know, and in love with your ex-boss. Let's take a look. I'm curious, where is your Mars? Your Venus is in the 9th house, so you could definitely have a second husband, or yeah. I mean, if you had a kid with somebody, you already burned the first one. So if Mars is in the 9th house, that definitely can be an indication that there's another person coming. But where? Okay, so your Venus is in Gemini, but where's your Mars? Do you know? No joke. There it is again. Jesus. Okay, 10 of coins. Okay, I'm not mad at that. I kind of feel like some similar things apply to what I just said to you. Okay, so your Mars is in the 5th house. Got it. Okay. So when your 7th house Lord is in the 5th house, it means that you could meet them at a bar. They could be younger than you. It could be somebody who starts as a fling. In Aquarius, they could be a friend first. You might meet them online. It might be somebody who you go out with a group of friends. These are just ways to kind of interpret that. But basically the Strength card, the Queen of Cups, the 8 of Cups, to me this is saying that you're having to make the conscious decision in general, work-wise, because the 10 of Coins is coming up, relationship-wise, to be like, I am moving on from things that did not work, okay? And the final card being the 8 of Cups is being like eventually, potentially moving on, right? So if you're in love with your ex-boss, I'm wondering what's the deal there. If he's an Aries rising, lots of Sag, do you feel like he's like unobtainable? Do you feel like he doesn't want to settle down? You know, the Strength card does talk about being open to letting love in, not necessarily from a specific person, but maybe in the past, you know, you were looking at this being like, okay, I'm going to try what I can to see if I can get his attention or kind of draw him in or bring him in. Can I get a reaction out of this person? And you tried. I'm wondering if it was just, you know, just like flirting, or if it was something that didn't ever really take off. Because the past position of Strength card is saying like, I tried, but I don't really feel like I made any headway. Queen of Cups in the current position. So this is about listening to your intuition, listening to your emotions. This might also be about emotional growth and maturity, right? And really kind of getting to a point where you're realizing more of what it is that you do want in relationships. I feel like a Mercury retrograde, being a Libra rising, you know, it's very possible that you're going to have a reconnection with, you know, somebody who is a Sagittarius. Somewhere around the second part of December, you're going to see Mercury retrograde in Sag, and it'll conjunct Mars. So this can be about reconnecting with people from the past, talking to them, phone calls, emails, hearing from them some way, shape, or form. And so I think the Queen of Cups is about staying open and aware of what your intuition is telling you, or what your dreams are telling you, or your gut hunches are telling you about future love and relationship options. The only sign that's really kind of coming through here is like a really strong Leo energy. So does that mean you're going to meet a Leo? Not necessarily, but that is the card that's being represented. So it can also be talking about meeting people through your 11th house. So friends, get-togethers, parties, stuff like that. And then we have the Eight of Cups. So it almost feels like the Strength card is overly idealizing. Oh my God, this is that person, the romance, the Leo, all that energy. And then the more that you get in touch with your intuition and your emotions and you really sit with it, you might be like, no, it's time to move on. I really tried to make that work. And the more that I thought about it, that's not going to work for me. And then the confirmation card is the 10 of coins, which is interesting because the 8 of cups is what we walk away from and the 10 of coins is what we have in the long term. Intuitively, I feel like what's going on is that you're realizing that the right relationship will not be something that makes you second guess it, makes you feel like you have to walk away. 10 of coins is about long-term planning. It's about commitment and financial success and security and marriage and family planning and having that family unit. So really what it comes down to, I think with the Strength card, is it can be playing off of the energies of, the fifth house or Leo, where you have your Mars, and that can, your fifth house Aquarius, where there can be this sense of being like, people come and people go, and I'm not going to hold on to them, and we can have something that's kind of loose, but maybe realizing that you don't want that. You don't want somebody who doesn't know what they want. Let's see. What else are you saying? He pulled away once I left my job. I was just flirty. He was flirty and sexual all yeah. Okay. I think that you will eventually walk away if you feel emotionally that there's no security. And, I also feel like with the eclipses in your 7th house, now is not a time to settle in relationships. Now is not a time to settle. Excuse me, you're going to have a solar eclipse in your 7th house. So, that solar eclipse in your 7th house, that's going to be, I think, the end of March, beginning of April. And that'll also be another opportunity for renewal relationships. When we have that eclipse in 2024, the ruler, Mars, will be in conjunction to Saturn. And that's going to be technically, depending on where you are in Libra, in your 6th house. So it is possible that you could be in a situation where you're going back and forth with a relationship in the spring and you have to make a big decision and go, okay, well, if this isn't working, I'm going to cut it loose. And that eclipse is going to be in conjunction to Chiron. And so it is mirroring some of the things that I'm seeing in the future. That's like, you can try to go back if you want to go back, but if you're in a situation where you're not getting what you need from somebody, you're not feeling fulfilled, you're eventually going to be like, okay, I'm moving on because I want something long-term. So as you proceed forward with some of your professional endeavors and also your romantic relationships, you're not focusing on in the moment personal, pleasure or immediate gratification. You're realizing that some of the best kind of things are going to require, I think, a little bit more time and some hard work, and that you're willing to walk away from things that might immediately kind of show up in the right now, but may not hang around for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I do also think that the 10 of coins talks about in your future, having financial support, having some kind of shift in regards to, your resources and your career. And also being able to have a family that can mean like a long-term family unit. Now, if you're having this, retrograde that's going to be taking place as a Libra rising, I don't know if what degree your rising is in, but you're going to see a retrograde from the 4th into the 3rd. And so I think it's going to be really kind of talking about how you can make some changes in regards to how you communicate and you express yourself to other people. I think all the trines to Jupiter is going to be helping you have a little bit more depth in terms of figuring out what needs to change in order to be able to move forward and having stronger relationships. Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful. Listen says, why can't you rewind this thing? Because we're live. You can rewind it when it's done. Let me know how that sits with you, Sabrina. But yeah, you might be feeling you gotta work towards what is willing to kind of hang around and do the long-term work, 12 degree Libra. Yeah, so the eclipses are going to be in your 7th house next year. And the retrograde is definitely going to be in your 3rd house. So this is all about changing the way that you communicate. You're very welcome. Look to next spring, though. That's when things get interesting. We've got Marie. There we go. I think I just saw you. Okay. My question's wild. Sorry. I'm 22 degrees Libra rising, Gemini sun, and Aquarius moon. The soon-to-be ex is a 29 degree Libra rising. Ouch. My sun is 29 degree Leo rising. What the right thing do you feel for my son and I? Okay. He's moving out on the 18th and has supervised visits with our son. He recently started drinking again. Would I get custody of our son, or should I try for my son's safety? Okay, so a couple things. One is you have a son that has 29 degrees Leo rising. The Venus retrograde was going back and forth on his ascendant. Okay, so there could have been a sense of maybe since the summer there potentially being a change going on with where he lives. Mars and also the sun and other planets have gone through his 4th house, which means there's some kind of shift going on at home, or there's been some home disturbances. Mars in the 4th house as opposed to Uranus in the 10th house between parents. And now Mars is going into his 5th house, which is going to be where he feels like he has more time for playtime, for fun, for creativity. It's going to be a little bit of an easier energy for him. Your partner being a Libra rising, 29 degrees. Pluto's at the most southern part of their chart. It's now direct. It's coming to a square at the ascendant and the descendant. So he's having issues with partners. 29 degrees of Libra is sometimes the degree that deals with like karma and relationships. It can be about separation or divorce. And Pluto will be scoring that degree for off and on the next year. Now, you'd have to go and look at like your kid's 4th house ruler. You need to look at Pluto and Mars placements and the transits to those. So that's a little bit more complex. So you might want to come back for an astrology reading. But let's see what the cards say in terms of what might be the best thing for your family right now in the midst of change. Glad to hear that you're potentially in a safer situation, or you're taking some space. His Mars is in his 5th house of my son. Well, we have to look at all the charts, so I'd have to visually see it because it's more than just knowing what planets' houses are in. You'd have to look at the aspects that they're making. I will say this, at least, and this is at the very least, you know, I don't know if he's like moving out, or what the deal is, but like, you know, Libra risings right now, you know, in the next month or so, you're going to see like Mercury, the sun, and Mars, and all these planets go into Capricorn, and there's a retrograde. So a lot of Libras are cleaning up old chapters in regards to home or family, or leaving old patterns in relationships or home life behind. So I get the impression that, you know, whatever's going on that's changing, him moving is probably a good thing because it can represent, A, giving you guys some space and some peace so you can be safe, but also B, taking some time to be alone and think about the change on the home base and really reflecting on how that might mirror some issues that he's had in his own home family life kind of growing up, because Pluto represents some kind of power struggle that's been going on for a while. 2 of Cups makes me feel like he is at least going to be civil, or he's willing to kind of like agree to do what's best for both parties, and whether that's for you and for him, or for you and for your son. I do feel like there is a possibility here with that 2 of Cups that, you know, somebody can be trying to come back around or trying to smooth things over, because this is a relationship card. So it's kind of saying like it still kind of hangs around potentially, because you guys may have had a tendency to kind of go back and forth. For somebody to come forward and be like, you know, let's make it work. Maybe in the past you guys had breaks or you had issues and you smoothed it over, but like it doesn't seem like that's happening anymore. you know, the Two of Cups in the past position is like being able to make amends in the past, but the Death card in the current position is saying like, no, this has to end, you know, and really it's about treating this as an ending, and whether this is him really moving and living somewhere else and not just being like, okay, it's temporary, being like, no, you no longer live here, and that might be the ending that is being foreshadowed. It may mean that the relationship actually ends, and that it's ending because it actually has to end, because one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to be done, or you're going to have to completely like start from scratch, go back to, you know, like the basics, and learn how to both deal with your issues individually and find ways to regenerate the relationship if that's possible. So, you know, I feel like things have happened now that there's no coming back from. Like when I see the Death card in the current position, it's basically about looking at it and kind of going like, we need to accept the fact that there is no turning back. Now we actually have to move forward. And maybe this is about ending old patterns. You know, in the past, if you had patterns of going back or returning or trying to make it work, and now you're realizing like, yeah, things are happening where I rightfully cannot allow myself to go back physically or emotionally. Sometimes things can get so ugly and so challenging when the Death card comes up that it's like meant to kind of shake you up and make you realize like, this is not actually going to give you happiness. We were actually divorced and I went back. Okay. And then the final card talks about the Sun. So we've got death and we've got life. Okay. So what's interesting is being a little too understanding in the past, being too willing to maybe make things work, consistently going back and trying to smooth it over. The Death card talks about being in a situation where you can't do that any longer. It's done now. And then the Sun card is basically saying there's going to be renewal. There's going to be happiness. There's going to be joy, particularly for your child, because you've got, you know, the little kid that's sitting on the horse and it's in the sun. So it talks about being able to have happiness, creativity, joy, fulfillment. You know, the Sun card is about the sun coming up after a difficult situation. It's interesting because in the Death card, where you see all of these people that are like dead and dying, and death is coming through with its flag, basically saying it's taking all. In the background, you see the two towers and the sun is rising. So this is like the sun coming up after kind of doing all of the purge at night. So this is like the dark night of the soul. And then here's the Sun card. So it is definitely referencing, it comes after the ending, and that it's really important to actually go through the process of ending it, even though it's painful and it's scary, because it makes way for this new beginning. Confirmation card is Temperance. So it's not just the new beginning, it's also healing. And so Temperance can come up when it talks about sobriety. It can talk about, you know, spiritual healing. It can talk about physical healing, therapy. But this is a card of time. And really what it's saying is the thing that's really going to heal this the most is time. It's not something that you can just immediately get over. You can't just immediately go back to the relationship. You can't feel like, you know, everything is good once you're on your own. Like you actually really need time to bounce back from this and to recover from, you know, some of the issues that you had from the relationship being imbalanced. I don't doubt that he may take you back, you know, if that's something that you want to do. Obviously, if, you know, everybody has to make the decision that's best for them. I just talk to you guys about what the cards say. I don't tell you what to do, but I will say that if you do make the decision to actually really end it now because you're feeling like things have happened where you can't go back, the Sun card and the Temperance card is saying that not only are you going to find happiness and fulfillment and completeness out of this relationship, but that there's a lot of room for healing. And so it's worth actually, you know, really treating this like it's an ending, so that way you can really reap the benefits of having peace and being able to heal, you know? Yeah, I really feel like on the other side of this, there is just a lot of like happiness and fulfillment. And I think that, you know, unfortunately, somebody who's going to have Pluto conjunct the IC square, the ascendant, the descendant, it's going to be another year and some. So about another year and 4 months before that Pluto square is done. And there's going to be a lot of disturbances in the home that's going to disrupt him and a relationship. You're better off turning him loose, to be honest with you. Yeah, too much has been done. The Death card is saying basically the grave has already been dug. It's just like, nope, it's just been a matter of timing before you actually go through the motions. But really, this is about healing now. And so I do think it's good. And I also think it's going to be better for your kid. You know, I think about how you're going to see a lot of planets that are going to be moving through Sagittarius in this next month. So for an Aries rising, or excuse me, for a Leo rising, there's going to be lots of opportunity for playtime and fun and creativity and games and finding ways to kind of stay stimulated. So just keeping him busy can definitely be really helpful. In terms of which parent he ends up with, you'd have to look at the aspects in his chart with his moon and also his sun or his Saturn. You know, you're gonna see lots of changes with the Uranus squares over the next couple of years if he's got 29 degrees on the ascendant. All the planets kind of going into his 10th house are going to be about your son having more maturity or feeling like a little bit more grown up. But you'd have to look at the aspects with his sun and his moon to see where he's going to land. But you can definitely see that through the natal chart. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Sending you lots of healing in the midst of this. Obviously, that's a really difficult thing to be dealing with, but good on you for making the decision that's best for you and your family, for getting some time to heal. Thank you guys for spending time with me on Friday. I appreciate it. It's always good to see you guys on the beginning of my weekend. I'll be back here Sunday. We're going to talk about the astrology of December. You can catch me here all of the other Fridays in December, 5 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we're going to do astrology. And if you guys haven't already seen my December horoscopes, check them out. They are live. I'm also doing a live show on January 1st. We're going to talk all about the astrology of 2024. You guys can head over to my website down here somewhere at beyondtheveiltarot.com. And you can sign up for that. We're doing tickets for 11/11. And we're going to do a several-hour live show on New Year's Day where we take a look at the 12 signs, the eclipses, the conjunctions, and all the other crazy stuff that's coming up in this next year. So I hope you join me. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will see all of you guys back here again on Sunday. Take care.